Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Thanks for watching my channel, Adriatic Adventures. Today I'm going to share with you our favorite, kind of secret camping spot on the Adriatic Sea. It was a tiny little Croatian town that we fell in love with, so I'll tell you where that is. I'll also reveal how we were trying to cross into Bosnia and Google Maps led us astray, and it was more of a boulder crossing than a border crossing. Oh yeah, and then I totally went off the road on my motorcycle in the rain and scared the hell out of myself. If you haven't seen the two previous videos about our time in Slovenia, getting over the highest pass in Slovenia and then down to Plitvice National Park, it's definitely a favorite of mine and worth checking out. So since I've made 3 videos in Croatia, where the heck is this place after all? Croatia is in southeastern Europe, across the Adriatic Sea from Italy. Speaking of Italy, it was once part of the Roman Empire, and these spectacular beaches also were part of the Ottoman Empire as well as the Hungarian Empire, and then most recently it was part of Yugoslavia, but in 1991 the Croatians became independent. This is a beautiful land, and I want to share with you our favorite little camping spot in a tiny little village called Molinot. So Molinot is not too far from the border with Montenegro, and we just found it incredibly charming. It's in a little bay protected from the Adriatic by a couple little islands, but it's just an adorable little town. The campsite was called Camp Adriatic, and it wasn't much to speak of, just a humble little shady spot underneath the kiwi vines, but the surrounding area was just spectacular and had a very relaxed vibe to it. So I'm going to play some music while we just look around at the scenery. So yeah, I won't be forgetting Molinot anytime soon. It was just such a great little place to relax for a couple days. Next on the agenda was putting another stamp in our passports. I guess this would be country number 4 on this trip. And it's someplace I heard about of probably first in a James Bond movie. I think it's Casino Royale. And it's called Montenegro. The road to Montenegro looks a lot like you're traveling in Tuscany, and I guess that makes sense because it's a lot of the same ingredients and it's not that far away. That's right. Thank you. So when we got back to the border with Croatia on our way north, there was a gut-sinking long line in the hot heat and at the border crossing, and we were like, man. But since we were on motorcycles, they said, yeah, just go right to the front. And that we found that at multiple border crossings, there could be miles and miles of traffic, and we get waved just to go up front. I also became a fan of lane splitting on this trip. I never did that before. So not too long after getting into Croatia, we're trying to get to the Bosnian border, and Google Maps leads us down this road, which looked less and less promising by the minute. And when we finally got within maybe 50 yards or so of the border with Bosnia, it just petered out, and there was just a bunch of boulders sitting at the end of the road. So we had to actually go way back down to the highway, I don't know, probably 30 minutes backtracking, and then go all the way up to Dubrovnik before we could find a proper border crossing. So right off the bat in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I was driving along and the rain was pretty bad. Gabriella's way more confident riding street bikes in the rain, and I just went right off the road at one point. The pavement was grooved and I was pretty rattled. I was going like 45 miles an hour or something, and I've never had a motorcycle accident and I've never had a crash. So that was as close as I've come, and it startled me. And I said, "You can go as fast as you want," but my tires were pretty bald, and with this groove pavement in the rain, I was like, "I don't care how slow I get there." The worst part about when I went off the road was that there was actually about a 6 to 8 inch ditch that my tire could have just gotten stuck in a rut, and then I would have got over the handlebars. But luckily, it didn't turn out that way. Next on our itinerary was to go to the town of Mostar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is a Muslim area, so this really was a different feel. There was evidence of previous war activity in that building on the left, and man, there's just a different vibe here. It was cool. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah. The further we went north, the greener things got. We had brief periods of sunshine, and then we hit this area of lakes that was Man, it looked like Switzerland or something. I really wasn't expecting it. It was just beautiful, and it was pretty chilly at that point. But I didn't know Bosnia looked like that. We did run into some pretty nasty traffic situations, but again, the lane splitting saved us. There was lots of traffic jams. I guess there had been an accident or something, so we had to just kind of take a leap of faith every once in a while and just jump into the oncoming lane just to get around the cars that were standing still. But we used lane splitting all the time. It just saved us hours and hours of being miserable out in the cold. So it turns out that traffic jams up in the mountains after having been in 3 countries in one day and riding all day long gets you pretty tired. So if you want to pull a bonehead move like I did, leave your credit card with the guy at the toll booth on the high-speed highway, and then realize about a half an hour later, oh my God, I left my credit card back at that. Oh shit. So I can definitely say the fastest I've ever been on a motorcycle was riding back to the ticket booth. But luckily the guy had my credit card. So we made it to the Hotel Bella in Sarajevo, and I was totally, completely done. Anyways, subscribe, and we'll wrap up this European tour with the next video. Thanks.